Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight I wanted to do a read based on a very interesting live stream that I saw that wasn't live anymore. On April 13th, Brad Olsen spoke with Michael Jaco, and I will link the share information down in the about for this video, so that if you haven't seen it or you would like to see it, you can watch it too. Anyway, in their interview, they were discussing the fact that there is more than one timeline, which I am totally in agreement with. But specifically that humanity was on a path that they are calling timeline 2, based on some bad actors' deep state actions. And because of some intervention and some subtle shifts and nudges, there is a second, or actually they call it timeline 1, that we are now firmly on, even though timeline 2 still tries to beckon and call. And because, and I'm very much simplifying what they had to say. I tell you guys, I'm a layman, okay? I don't claim to be an expert. This is my understanding of it, that we are firmly on timeline 1, but we are still, because the possibility of timeline 2 had been so strong, almost like echoes of it are out there, still making us have to go through things like the pandemic and, the regulations and things like that we've had to live through the last few years. But what I wanted to ask the cards about tonight was, because there may be, and I believe quite sincerely, there's more than 2 possibilities. I have to be careful how I phrase this. I would like to ask the universe if the good timeline, the timeline 1 that was spoken of in that live stream, if we who are awake can help steer the course of timeline 1 more firmly and quickly along its way to what is called the golden age, the age of Aquarius, the cosmic event. So let's see if we are firmly on timeline 1, and if there's advice from the universe of what we who are awake can do to aid, assist, and speed things up on that way. Okay, so just a moment, I'll change the pins. You can watch me finish the shuffling and we'll see what the cards have to say. Here's what the cards had to say. And I have to say, just right off the bat, this is a beautiful card spread, and it's very affirming and reason for hope. So I will show you what we've got. One thing I want you to notice, we have numerous 2s showing up in this spread, and we were asking about the 2 timeline possibility, and I love that 3 out of the 7 cards have the 2 element going on. So there may be more than that. I think there's infinite possibilities, but we were asking about these 2, and is humanity on a path towards the better one? Okay, so this is our question. And we have the 2 of Cups, which is usually about an agreement coming to an accord. And we have the 2 of Pentacles here for the situation, which means that and if it wasn't so well aspected by the sun, I would think that it was indicating that there's still a possibility that we could go either way. But I don't think that's it. I think it's more like what Brad Olsen was saying, was that we'll still be able to see some of the effects of timeline 2. We'll be able to see it. It's like being on a highway, a 4-lane, and you can see an accident that's happened in the other lane of traffic. It doesn't affect you. You're not directly involved, but you can see the aftermath and what's going on there. When we get into our near past, present, and future, the near past is the Queen of Pentacles, and she is a very an energy that's loving and abundant and an excellent representation of what's happened. It looks like we have been on this better timeline, even though it doesn't always feel like it. And believe me, the deep state doesn't want us feeling that hope and knowing that the course of humanity has changed for the better, but it has. In the present, we have the Sun card, a major arcana, which means things are pretty well set. Major arcanas are not going to be pushed aside and nudged. And I love that that's right here solidly in the present is the Sun, which indicates a new day dawning. More on that later. And a very, very youthful, loving energy. And it's also quite often this card is indicated with increased intuition or psychic abilities. And as we wake up, if you're watching this channel, you're well along the way. But as we wake up, our dormant abilities are starting to wake up. I mean, not nearly like they're going to in future generations, but we do have this capability. We're starting to realize that. That's why I speak so often about let's practice our manifesting skills. We can all do it to some extent. Let's get working on it. I do believe it's going to make a difference. And the cards I'm seeing here say, yes, indeed, it will. Looking ahead, we have the Ace of Cups. It is the best card in the entire deck. It is a card of victory, of love, of all good things happening. Your cup's running over, okay? And got the dove here. And yeah, our creator's involved with this, and so happy that we're doing this. And then part of our question was, is there a little advice? What can we do? We're getting told two things I'm getting from this. First of all, there's work still to do. We're going to see this come about. Like I said, in our lifetimes, you know, many of us are going to see this happen. And hopefully in the not too distant future. And what can we do to speed it up? Well, we've been told, you know, work on your prayer skills, your manifesting skills, your intuition, just let it come. Intuition is just those little nudges. And then this card is about doing a little bit more patient waiting, but it's also about trusting senses you have besides sight. You see, she has her swords at the ready. She is ready. I love this card because she is not a weak woman, and divine feminine energy has to have that balance where it's not just weak. So I love that she's armed. She is ready to take action. She's trusting her other senses while she waits for that moment to come. Maybe it'll be a footstep on the gravel. You know, maybe it'll be a smell of some approaching danger off to the left or right, but she's waiting and ready. And she's not fearful at all. She's got a very bold way she's sitting. So we need to boldly take the actions we need to take, develop senses we haven't always relied on in the past, and move forward and help this time come about sooner rather than later. And I would love someday when I return to where I came from to have my creator say, you had a part in making it happen much faster. I would love to hear that. I've always said he's not going to tell me well done, because I screwed up for a lot of things in the course of my life. But what I'm working for here is to hear him say, well finished. And I hope you are too. Okay, now bear with me a minute, because I kind of thought if we got this type of read, I had a little something that might still help you. So hang on, I'm going to show you something. If we're supposed to be working at our skills of intention, of positivity, of helping to make things manifest, I wanted to ask those of you that watch this to do one thing and maybe possibly do it on a regular basis. I would like to share a song that's very special with you. I can only show you where to find it on YouTube because I don't have the copyright permissions to play it for you. It's one probably many of you are familiar with. Okay. Sorry. Mama Cass, New World Coming. I'm recommending this version, which lasts 2 minutes and 12 seconds, because there's no video other than this one picture, so it won't distract you. And I would like to encourage you maybe to bookmark this song, play it regularly, and just for that 2 minutes that it's playing, picture our world, timeline 1, moving faster and faster towards something wonderful and glorious. I really want you to do that for me if you feel so called. Okay. Now, if you're not used to picturing and manifesting something, I'm going to give you 3 options that might work for you, but you can do anything that works for you. Okay. Again, this is a layman, but I'm pretty good at visualizing things. And I thought, here's 3 ways you could visualize us. If you've ever done a rafting trip on water, you could picture yourself on a raft or in a canoe, and you're in a stream or lake or stream or river, and there's current, and you're paddling with it. And the stream has a small divergence off to the left that you really don't want to, because you want to stay in the main stream. So you only need to paddle a little bit this way to keep yourself on course for the better water. Okay, so that's one way you could picture it, is you're in that boat, you've got a paddle, you're helping to steer and make sure that you don't need a major course correction, because you're going to avoid that. The second one is picture yourself on a hike, and it's a developed trail, and it's one you've walked many, many times, but it does have some directional signs for newbies. And you're halfway down the trail and somebody has played with the sign, and they have it pointing away to a branch off that you don't want to get to your destination. You don't want to take it. So even though there's that branch off, and even though there's a little sign saying, hey, go there, that's not to take. So you stay on the trail you want, you get to the destination you want, and then please call the the ranger station to fix the sign so nobody else has trouble. And then the third thing is you could be driving. Picture yourself driving. Okay, your car represents humanity, your family unit, whatever's important to you, and you are safely driving somewhere. And then you see that someone has put a temporary detour sign off to the side, and the road still goes through. You don't need that detour. You're not going to take that detour. You're going to stay on that course. So there's a driving suggestion, there's a hiking suggestion, there's a rafting suggestion for how you can picture our world moving forward and doing so more quickly into some really, really great times for humanity. And if you would do that just for the 2 minutes and 12 seconds that that song plays, and it always lifts my spirits to hear it too. New World Coming with Mama Cass. Just a very hopeful song. So if you take those 2 minutes and listen to that next after I'll put the link for that down in my About section also. And I would really like it if you would do that, and let's see if we can't help things move along. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to say one thing in closing, and that is fear is a useless emotion. I'll say it again, it's very important. Fear is a useless emotion. But caution is what we should replace any fear with. Caution makes logical sense, still allows for clear thinking. Caution is how we approach things that are potential dangers or potential things that we should worry about. But fear, like outrage, is a useless emotion. And I want everybody watching this to try to live a life with the least amount of fear possible. Caution possibly. That's wise, but not fearful. Good night.